It's exciting. The rematch. Everybody loves a rematch because it settles the score of who's the better fighter. Because sometimes somebody could use excuses like, he got lucky or whatever. But once you've dominated someone two times, there's no question that who's the better fighter and who is more dominant. Oh, I was a free agent. I was got out of contract with Bellator back in August of 2016, and then just kind of did, just been training, just seeing what opportunities presents itself. And then M1 approached me with this fight a few times, unable to kind of come to an agreement. And now, just for this fight in June 1st, we actually came to an agreement, and I'm actually under contract with M1 now. I was happy with the contract that they came with. I held out and, got what I wanted, and, I got this rematch. So, I'm excited to go over to Russia. You guys have some of the greatest fans over there, too, for MMA. No, yeah. I know Paul Bradley from training. I've trained with him a few times. But, no, I never spoke to him about anything about the fight or the contract or anything. I mean, I've traveled all over the world. So, I don't judge. I don't, stereotype people. I just go with the flow, and, I'm excited to go over there and all the stereotypes and, Russia's this, Russia's that. I don't buy into it. I just go out and have a good time. I just, part of the biggest thing is, learning about someone's culture is, going over there and, eating the food, talking to the people. And, I'm excited to do that. It's my first time over there, and I'm hoping I have a blast. No, I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to make the weight. It's just another walk in the park for me. There's some technical difficulties with the Grow fight, and I'm not going to go into. That's water under the bridge. And you know what? I'm just looking forward from here and just going over to St. Petersburg and fighting Шлеменко at middleweights is going to be no problem. I do the weight slowly but surely. I don't try to lose more than a half a pound a day. That way my body stays fresh. I don't drain myself. So I walk around 210, 215. So it's not too big of a cut, but it is a little bit of a cut. Towards the last week, obviously you got to pull water weight out, and there's a little bit of technique that goes involved with dehydrating the body correctly so you're not fatigued for the fight. Oh yeah, the rule of thumb is, for every hour time zone you jump, you got to go a day in advance. So, you guys are 10 hours ahead of me, so I got to be there at least 10 days in advance. So that's the plan. Got to reset the clock and make sure I'm all acclimated to the time zone. Just pressure. Use my overwhelming. There's no denying that I'm the bigger physical fighter, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. He's a small middleweight. So I'm going to use my physical presence to just overwhelm him. It doesn't matter. My physical presence is just going to be overwhelming, whether it's 3 rounds or 5 rounds. That's just, that many more rounds that he gets beat up in, you know what I mean? So, my theory is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, last time, we beat him with wrestling. There's no surprise that I'm going to go out there and beat him with wrestling again. That's the part of a fight, If someone gets punched in the face and they're going to go, oh crap, he punched me in the face, I wasn't looking. You can't deny. That's what the fighting's about. It's stuff happens in the fight. You have to overcome it. That's what makes you a fighter, is overcoming these adversities that make us, vulnerable in the fight. So him dislocating his fingers, that's not my problem. That was something that happened to him in the fight that he has to deal with, and that's all part of the fight game. I think he's a great fighter. He's got over 60 fights. That's pretty incredible accomplishment. And he's got over 55 victories. So, as a fighter, I respect the guy. But you know what I mean. When he gets in the ring with me, it's going to be a different story. So, that's when I flip the hat around and turn it on.